When you use the Claude Code, it doesn't have all the knowledge that you need. It only has the knowledge what it is trained on. But whenever you want to add, for example, image reference or some document reference or some PDF instruction that you want it to follow, or let's say a API documentation that you want it to refer to, there are 5 ways you can give additional information. Let's look into it. First option, you go to the root directory of your project folder and create a separate directory. Let's say if you want to add images, you can add a folder called images and then keep all your images here, and then you can reference it. I'll show you an example. So I added the image inside this folder, and now let's start Claude Code. So now what you can do, you can just refer to this image with add image. So let's see, I'll ask Sonnet whether Ronaldo is better than Messi. Yeah, the comparison is one of the most debated topics in football history. Both are legendary players with different strengths. So it gave a political answer. But anyways, you understand that in this way, you can refer to the image. You can do the same with PDF. It's the same procedure. You can add some folder here, let it be a doc folder or some kind of folder, and then you can keep all your PDFs and then just refer to that with the @ sign. So the second option in referring to a file or image is like this. Go here, instead of adding the files or images inside a folder, you can just drag and drop in this chat window straight away. This is suitable if you are just going to use it one time. But let's say if you are going to have some kind of reference images for your design or something that you need to refer to it again and again, it's best you add them to a folder here like this. But if it's just going to be one time thing, let's say if you want to screenshot the error message and then add it to the chat window. So now I will drag the image of Messi, and then one thing to note is when you want to insert the image into this chat window, you just have to press Shift and then drop it. Now the image is accessible for Claude Code from the chat window itself. So now you can prompt anything you want. Okay, let's see. Lionel Messi, yeah, and the user is asking me to identify this for debate. This option is suitable mainly when you add the screenshot of your error message or something like whatever you refer to it. Even a design, like you can take a screenshot of some website design and then you can just paste it and ask it to replicate it. These kind of one-time events, you can do it like this. But if you want to refer some style or image again and again or document again and again, it's better that you go with option 1 to add it into the folder and refer to it using the @ sign. So now let's move on to the third option. The third option is adding the website link directly. So now let's check this Gumroad website. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this website link and paste it here. Paste this website. Okay, I just changed this. So I'm clearing everything. Okay, now I will just change the model to Opus Plan mode. This is a new mode they introduced, that it will first use Opus to do the planning and then execute the plan with Sonnet. This is the most efficient way to do anything. Now that I'm trying to replicate a website, I'll use this one. Okay, now I will just copy this website URL. Okay, now let's check the third option. I will just paste. Okay, now I'll use a website link. Okay, now I'll ask check this website design, create one page, create single page copy. So now I just mentioned about this Gumroad website as a link, and then ask it to just copy the design and make a simple application just for the demo purpose. And let's see how well it does it. So now you can see that I have pasted the Gumroad website link and then ask it to copy the website and make it very simple. You can play with the prompt. This is just, you can even copy and paste this prompt. So you can basically do the same thing for copying a website or referring to a GitHub repository and do something on top of it. You can refer to any link and do anything in this using this option. Even if you want to build something, you can find a boilerplate code from GitHub and then paste the link here and ask it to modify the way you want and then start building from it. It is the fastest way to implement something. But remember, always be careful with the licenses. So just check whether it has a mighty license for you to just do it and make it as a business. Okay, now it seems like it is done. Let's check. Okay, so it created a very bad one, I would say, but at least you can see that it got some information from go from $0 to $1 and some kind of informations like that. The design is completely different than what is expected. What you can do now, you can take a screenshot of this and then refer to Claude Code and then ask it to modify it until you are satisfied. You have to iterate on it until it gets it right. So this is just a basic. I'm not going to do that in this video. I'll do a separate video just on how to clone anything using the Claude Code. In this video, I'll just continue to explain what are the options that you can add references to the Claude Code. So now we are done with directly adding a website link to the Claude Code as a reference. So we will move on to the next one. You just trust the Claude Code's web search tool for it to search the web and then find what you asked and then act upon it. This is the most simplest way because the Claude Code comes with a web search tool. Just like you search, it will just go to the website, search the right things as per your query, and then find the relevant information and then act upon it. So let's just try that. Can you check? I'll just say clear. And now I will ask, this is a best practice for you to always clear when you are going to start with something new. Okay, I'll clear this as well. So now I will just add one more thing. Search and write an SEO in Edge AI. So let's see. Now that I told it to search the web and then write an article, right? So it should research and gather all the information and it should come up with a good article. So let's see. Now you can see that it already started researching using its web search tool and started researching and then gathering information and then it is going to write. So let's see what it comes up. Okay, now it's done. You can see, all right. Okay, so it has done a good research and came up with good answers. ChatGPT, Perplexity, yeah, excellent. So now you understand, right? Like it has its own inbuilt web search tool and you can just refer to it and it will just go and do the research, and it is pretty good as well. So now we are done with the fourth option. The final option to give any additional information is using an MCP server. Let's say you want to give some information about Stripe which you use for payment, or a backend Superbase, or let's say you want to add some additional context information and there is something called context 7. I will do a deep dive on MCP on a separate video, but for simplicity now you can think of it like, let's say you want to use a service, right? For example, Stripe, and then it has its own functions. You have to call the API in certain ways and you have to do these kind of code changes for something else to happen. And it has its own functions which you have to call for certain actions. So in traditional way, as programmers, as developers, we have to refer to the Stripe documentation and then figure out, okay, I have to implement this function in this situation, and then I'll check up the code and then implement it and then test it, try to solve until I am done with it, right? But when it comes to MCP, Stripe gives its own MCP server. So that MCP server knows what are the Stripe's functions, when to call what. The same thing. It's like it knows all the documentation, what is happening inside Stripe, and how to solve certain issues, and what function to call. So it has all the information. So when you give the access of Stripe MCP server to Claude Code, the Claude Code knows, okay, these are the functions the Stripe is having, these are the things that I can call, these are the tools that I can call to solve this issue or implement this issue. So it's basically like letting Claude Code understand the Stripe's documentation and all the implementation detail in an easy and consumable way for the agent. So after you connect the MCP server with the Claude Code agent, you can just ask the Claude Code to use that MCP server to implement something. So this is the basic understanding in simple terms. And there are many popular MCP servers that are useful. And one of the most important MCP server you will come across is Context 7. It's basically a cheat code for your agent to access up-to-date documentation related to almost all the technologies that you need to implement. In traditional implementation, human has to go through the documentation and implement something. But using this Context 7 MCP, LLM can do the same thing. If it needs to refer something, it will just use the Context 7 MCP and then make the implementation. In simple terms, it's like giving access to all the documentation of all the technologies that you are going to use. And Claude Code will know when to use which document. So it's like a superpower you give to your Claude Code. So I'll show you how to add this Context 7 MCP server. Go to this website link. You can take it. And yeah, and remember that all these resources will be available in my school community. If you want, you can check it out. It's free for now. And so you just copy this, and go to your code and just add it. Yeah, so now it's added. One thing to notice, whenever you add an MCP, you have to restart the Claude for it to access it properly. So now it's done. Okay, now you can see that MCP server. You can see now the Context 7 MCP is available. So you can ask it to show some examples, right? Now Claude Code has the access to latest examples and all these updated documentation. So it's going to use the Context 7 MCP and it's going to get all the information and provide it for you. This just makes Claude Code a super agent because it's going to have all the updated information. It knows what is going to go wrong, how to implement it, which function to call when, everything. That's it. This is the best way for you to give access to Claude Code to anything you want. So these are the 5 options. With that, we have come to an end of the video.